folks, welcome back to Ponderosa Garden Adventures. I'm Sharon.
I'm Mark.
And if you haven't joined us before, we garden here in Southern California, Zone 10A. If you're coming back, thanks for coming back and joining us again. We are in our front yard this morning, and we are going to be addressing our biggest problem area out here, and that is the area from in front of our roses, the white fence, and then there's a little strip of planting area between the white fence and the sidewalk. So yeah, you can see it right there. And the soil is terrible. It's very hard to dig in and plant in. And what I've done is brought one of our 4x4 that we had in our backyard. I brought that out front here. And we're gonna put some hardware cloth on the bottom of that so that we can have a raised bed to be able to plant some things. And then we're gonna sheet mulch the rest of it. So we want to get that done, but before we can start with that, we need to take the white fence down, and we need to get all of this crabgrass knocked down and out as much as we can. So we're going to get everything. We're going to take the white fence out, get the weeds down. We're going to take care of weeding underneath the roses and just kind of give it a makeover. So I hope you'll join us today. We'll check in throughout our progress and then at the end. And yeah, let's go see what we can get done. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah.
It's overcast today, so we have the advantage of a little less heat. So we're going to try to get as much done as we can. Let's go. All right, here I want to give you a full look at the yard with what we are starting with here. So there we go. I'll kind of give you
Hi, Mark here. I'm going to talk about doing the actual work here. So we've got crabgrass deep in around the roses. I don't have any other way than just to reach in there. So I bought some special gloves to go all the way up to the elbow. So I'm going to be reaching deep down in there, grab that crabgrass and pull it out. And then I'm going to have to pull this fence up and dig up as much of this as we can. And so I'm going to try and do this in chunks because it's going to take more than one day. So I'm going to get started on this, and I'll just throw a camera on and we'll do some
So I'm going to begin by removing the fence, and I soaked the soil the night before by just watering it down with a hose so that it would be damp and easy to pull out, and it seems to have worked, but I can see that there's quite a bit of crabgrass stuck in there. So it's going to take a little bit longer than I expected, and here's another area where you're going to see how I'm doing this. So I'm using a pitchfork. I like to use a pitchfork because it kind of gets under the roots a little easier than a shovel sometimes. And I'm getting these huge sheets of the crabgrass. What that really is weed cloth that the crabgrass has grown roots through. So it's coming up in big sheets, which makes it kind of easy to get up. But we are really pretty much done with the weed cloth in terms of having it around crabgrass. And here I'm showing another reason I'm using a pitchfork is when I'm working down around the roses, the base of the roses, I want to be careful that I don't break the roots. So I'm using this pitchfork to just kind of loosen the crabgrass, and then I have to go in there by hand and just kind of pull out, make sure I'm pulling just the crabgrass and not the roots of the rose. And then I'm going to just repeat that for each of the 5 roses along this row. Now the next challenge is this clump of grass here, which turns out is a blue fescue, a tall grass that I had planted here years ago, hoping that it would spread out and make a ground cover to choke out the crabgrass, but I think the crabgrass one. So I had to be very careful to dig around it. I did manage to get all the crabgrass out without damaging the fescue. So it looks like we are just about done. Just level it out with the rake and then use the tamper to level it out and compact it, getting the air spaces out. That's how I usually wrap up my projects that involve any digging, and I think we are going to wrap it up for the day. I'm calling it a day. I'm going to show you what
I accomplished today.
So starting over here, I got around the base of the roses and all the way up to the second one, but I had to kind of stop there. It's tricky getting down around. And then so just up to the second rose, obviously I'm going to go all the way down here. So tomorrow I need to get to about here. I might have to take a different strategy. It's taking a long time to dig everything up by hand. So I may have to just come through with a weed whacker or something like that. So we'll be back tomorrow, coming at it hard again. I'm hoping to be out here a little earlier, beat the heat. We'll see how far we can get tomorrow. All right, see you then.
Here is a closer look at the interior. It's really a lot of weeding and clearing that needs to happen, and some deadheading and mulching, but I am going to take down the Russian sage. I take that down so that we have time for another fresh bloom, and I need to also go through for the feathergrass, you can see, which is great. I love the look, but all those little wispy things at the top are all seeds. I don't want a yard full of that, so I need to go through and trim those down. Dusty Miller, same thing. I don't prefer those yellow flowers, so I need to trim those down as well. Hi, well, here we are at the end of day one. Let me show you what I got done. Mark was working on the roses and getting all of, and the front planter area and getting all of that crabgrass out of there. I was working on doing pruning and trimming. So let me turn this around and show you how far I got. We started this morning with the plumbago. It was growing, it was blocking our pathway here, so we just kind of took that down. We got this Mexican feathergrass trim. I worked on the tomatoes here, so I have cherry tomatoes that got that trimmed up, and then my tomato arch here was very overgrown, and I've gone through and trimmed this down. And then I did trim underneath the peach tree. We had some branches growing down, some new growth. Trimmed the Dusty Miller, and then over here I trimmed the Russian sage, both big Russian sage plants, the Mexican feathergrass over here. I started on the rosemary, got some space down there at the bottom now, trimming on the top, kind of get it back to a sphere, and I'll keep working on that tomorrow. Started with this empty this morning, and this has been an entire green waste bin today, so I call that a good day's work. So that's it for day one, and we'll check back with you tomorrow, day two.